I'll remove this plate. Those are 16mm bolts all the way around, just so we can get access from the back of the pump. Alright, so before we get too excited, we will go ahead and remove the negative terminal out of the battery. As per usual, it's located in the trunk. It's 10mm. We'll get the negative terminal removed. Put it aside. I'll remove the snorkel just by pressing this tab and pulling it up. Next, I will remove this cross member on both sides, 2 bolts. Those are 13mm. And same on the other side. I'll just behind, I should show you. So behind we have a cable going through, so we can just pull it off, as well as the AC line. Similar way, we will just push it out of those plastic brackets just to get this cross member free. Okay, so now I'll just, there are 2 hoses on both sides. This one is more rigid, so we'll just work around this hose just to get that cross member across. To remove this electrical connector, passenger side, just squeeze those 2 tabs on each side and pull it up. And just put it aside. Okay, now in order to pull the fan up, there are 2 clips that hold it on each side. So on the passenger side, I'm just reaching it with the pry bar. We need to press this in and pull the fan out. And on the driver's side, very similar. We need to push this in. So there is that plastic tab. So we push this in and pull the fan up. We can do one side at a time. Alright, so I got those 2 locks released, so now I can just pull this fan. And on the right hand side, there is a, where it was kind of attached to the frame, there is a swivel which we can move to the other side to get that fan pulled out. Those AC lines are on the way. So I just want to show you that swivel that I mentioned. So there's a stone. Basically, it sits like this in a frame, so this piece is locked. So when we release it, pull it out, and then just close it. But we'll need to remove that stone. So now we can probably install it just like that. So that allows us to pull the fan out easily. Alright, so next what we want to do, we want to drain the coolant, and I didn't find any other directions how to properly drain a coolant other than removing the lower radiator hose. So this is the hose, and it goes to the thermostat, and it is a quick connector, so we'll just go with the pick. Oh, sorry, you cannot see. So there is that metal clip. We'll pull it up, Hopefully you can see something. So now when that clip is pulled up, we can actually wiggle the hose out, and we have catch tray underneath, because there will be a big dump of coolant. Okay, while coolant is draining, let's take a look at the thermostat. So we have removed this hose. Next, we'll go ahead and remove this one, which is also quick connect, and I will try to show you where it is. So you can see the one disconnected, and just 1 to 11 o'clock is the other one. So we will remove that clip. We'll remove that clip similar way and pull it off. Okay, so the second hose is removed, and we made even bigger mess under the car. If you remove this one and this one, now those two are barbs, and we will need to take off the hose clamps and remove those two. Alright, so it's quite ugly underneath because the coolant is still dripping. But next, I'm just trying to zoom on that hose and hose clamp. So I should be able to get that off with a little flathead screwdriver. Maybe not. It might be a little bit too big. If not, I might need to use a socket and a ratchet. Yeah, the screwdriver is a little bit tight. Okay, so I'll just use 6mm socket and 1/4-inch ratchet to get that hose off, hose clamp off. Alright, so that hose is off. You can see the clamp hanging over there. And when I removed this one, I got another dump of fluid, another dump of coolant. So now my floor is just soaked with coolant. So there is one more, also 6mm head or flat screwdriver. So I'll try to get that off. Thinking for that one, the small screwdriver should work. Actually, no, this little screwdriver does not fit. So again, we'll be using 1/4-inch ratchet with 6mm socket. So all the hoses are removed around the thermostat. There was no fluid from the last one, so now I'll go ahead and remove this electrical connector. You need to kind of pry this plate on top out. Basically, we'll go with a little screwdriver or pick and just push this plate out and pull the wires. A little bit difficult to do it with one hand. Just like that. And now we'll remove those two bolts. One I can reach with the impact. For another one, we'll need to use a little ratchet. Alright, so this is the old thermostat. It came off from the bottom of the car. So till this point, you should have your thermostat out. You should have all your sleeves soaked in coolant and potentially engine oil, since this is BMW. Now let's take a look at the pump. So the pump has two, or actually two bolts over here, and the third one just up there. So we will take a look and see what we can remove next from the pump. Alright, so next we'll remove this big hose that goes to the pump. On the other side it was connected to the thermostat. So theoretically it can stay, but that electrical connector which is behind it. So we can try to see if we can just pull it back. There's not much room. It will be tough, so I'll just go ahead and remove that hose clamp. Most likely it will go from this side in between the rack and pinion and subframe. There's a gap with a long screwdriver, should be able to get it to it. Okay, so the clamp is loose. I'll pull that hose, but there will be another probably splash of coolant. Actually not that bad. Right, so now we should be good to undo this electrical connection. Just compress the tab, pull it out. So that connector is off, so now we have access to the last hose clamp, just over there. You can use a long screwdriver to get it loose. I'll get the hose removed. Actually, this screwdriver, the longer the better, was super helpful in a few cases. So I was sometimes using the 6mm socket, but then when there's no tension, ratchet is a little bit painful to use. So I was reaching from different gaps and this long screwdriver to those hoses. Okay, so now I'll try to remove the hose. Okay, so this one probably has another charge of coolant. We'll pull it off. There's a little bit of coolant flowing. Not too terrible. Alright, so now we'll have to remove those two Torx and one at the top. We'll start with one on the top. So the one at the top is easy to reach from under the hood, and I will try to show you just lowering my phone. So that's where it is. There is that clip with the electrical wire, so we'll remove the clip and we'll get that bolt out. E12 bolts are removed, so now we'll pull the pump out. So we'll try to get it out from the top. So we go gentle so you don't damage the fins on the radiator. I'll actually put my phone down and pull those hoses away. Okay, so here's the old pump, here's the new one. So we can start installing it back. I'll actually keep those plugs until the pump is in place, just to prevent any debris getting in. So we'll lower it down same way as we removed the old one. Basically pull those hoses up, let it down. All three bolts are in place and snug, and we need to torque them to 96 inch-pounds or 8 foot-pounds plus 90 degree. It might be a tricky thing to do it in here because there is not much room anywhere even to stick the torque wrench. So I'll try to do it somehow, but honestly there is just not enough room for the torque wrench to do that, at least for the top bolt. The two bottom ones shouldn't be a problem, they're easily accessible. Let me try do the top one and then I'll show you the bottom ones. Okay, torquing the top one was not successful with my tools. Even though this is 1/4 inch torque wrench, it's still way too big. So we'll do the bottom one. So this is 8 foot-pounds or 96 inch-pounds. And I just take, so we can see where that lock ball is. So now we need to do 90 degrees. So basically, right now it's pointing towards ourselves, and we need to turn it so it's pointing all the way to the back. And for that, you can even use a 2.5 inch ratchet. That's probably what I will do. Maybe we'll just try continue with this one. Anyway, you got the idea. 8 foot-pounds and then 90 degree. Right, so next I will do that bigger hose clamp just above the electrical connector with the one screwdriver. Next I will plug in that electrical connector back in. There is not much room to capture the video properly. Just want to make sure that when it goes in you can hear the click, so it locks itself in place. So this bigger hose I will get attached. Okay, so this bigger hose I will get started on the thermostat itself and we'll lower it down. I will not get it tight since we need to line up the angle for the pump. So we'll get this dropped and we will connect it to the pump. Alright, so I got the thermostat attached to the pump. I got that hose on the pump. So right now it's just a matter of reconnecting all the hoses and getting all those hose clamps tight. All the hoses are installed, so next thing that I will do is connect that metal clip to the pump, the one that we removed when we were taking off the top bolt. And that's the wire that we'll need to connect to the thermostat at the end of the day. Just like that. And now we will plug that wire into the thermostat. Finally. Alright, so next I will put the fan back in, and we just need to make sure that it goes into this bracket on one side, this bracket on the other side, as well as this bracket connected to this pipe. Right, so the fan is in. You just need to verify that it has clipped into all those brackets on both sides. And last thing would be to grab the electrical connector, push it in. So next we will reinstall this crossbar. And the biggest deal is to make sure that all those hoses and the release cable is set properly. So we will install those hoses and cable. So all the AC lines and hood release cable is attached to that crossbar. Now we can go ahead and reinstall those 4 bolts, 2 on each side. Need to push it in place to get those holes lined up. Same on the other side. Next we will reinstall this snorkel, and it's just a matter of pushing it in. Alright, so it's coolant time. If you prefer using the BMW recommended fluids, this is what you would normally use. I am a strong believer that all the coolants are the same. As long as you buy good quality concentrate and mix it, you will never have an issue. And mix it with the distilled water. I always mix mine 60-40, 60% of coolant, 40% of water, because we are in Canada and 50-50 is usually good till -37. And if you have water in the system for some reason, so at the end of the day coolant gets diluted, I use 70-30%, so at the end of the day we receive roughly 60-40. So this is the 4th liter of coolant. And we can hear that it's bubbling. I don't know why I'm losing so much coolant. So we'll keep going until the reservoir is full. Okay, so I have put in 5.5 liters and now the reservoir is full. So I'll just go around and squeeze the radiator hoses where I can reach to get as much air out as I can. Okay, so I have put almost 7 liters of coolant in. At this point I will reconnect the battery and we'll start the car, get that fluid flowing. So I have run the vehicle for probably close to an hour now. Then shut it down, let it sit, let it cool down a bit, check the coolant level, top it up. While you testing, there is no temperature gauge on the dash, so I was just using the laser thermometer, checking the temperature on the radiator supply hose. Make sure that it's not going over 100, so make sure that your coolant is in a level. When your cap is open it only when it's cold, when the vehicle sits for a while, because there might be build up pressure. When you open the cap, you are safe to go underneath and check for any leaks where we connected all the hoses. So I had one tiny leak, so I needed to take that to make that hose clamp a little bit tighter. But other than that, it seems good. It's not overheating. The fan is running. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And as always, just do it yourself.